Hello, my Zimbabweans. So today I have a very interesting topic, which is, yes, ZANU-PF is not the problem, but our culture. And I'm going to explain why I have this belief or mindset. Number one, if we have a good culture in Zimbabwe, ZANU-PF would not be in power. It's that simple. Tine culture yakanaka, ZANU-PF can't exist. So I'm going to explain the culture we have and the culture we had and why we are in this mess. So chekutanga, you need to understand that before tacolonized, before this whole white people were in Zimbabwe, we had this culture tanga tinayo, and this culture was quite simple, which was, I think all of you would agree with me, tanga tine ma kings analo bengula anachilisa moro anashangamire dombo, and these guys, they would detect zvavanoda ndo zvaitika. Of course they would get help nema elders avaitonga navo, but you were not allowed to criticize the king. You were not allowed to vote king waunoda kuti king tauda uyu aite king. There was no such a thing waona. And kana one chichemo, you would go kunema elders, and then those elders, they would go and speak kuna king zvikaramba zvaramba. That was it. You were not allowed to criticize or whatever. So that was the system yakakura na sekuru vedu ana gogo vedu, those people, those system yakakurira. And in many ways that culture is going to be passed down to us. Even though taka colonized waka, we still had that culture to some degree. And then when we got our independence and we were left with a new system, it is so different from our culture. Because what is this new system? That was democracy. But what is democracy? Democracy is not the African culture. It's not the Zimbabwean culture. Democracy, well, the people are supposed to select their leaders. We've never done that. We've never selected an own leader. Tengopi my leaders. In fact, you are a king by right. Not the king or king. That was the system. Never in our history as Zimbabweans or as Africans, if I'm trying to be a bit deeper, never in our history ever much involved in the political affairs in nyika yedu or yedzimbo yategara. It was never the case. We were not involved completely. We had some contributions at Taita, but for the most part, a structure we were just supposed to listen and obey and so. But now, a system we can actually do that and all of those stuff. So this new system, it's a very weird system, and this system can only work when the majority of the people are educated. What do I mean by that? Well, democracy would shine in Zimbabwe or in any African country. The people, the citizens, they have to have the understanding what is a democracy. They have to understand the structure of government. Well, government, exists in three parts. There's the executive, the judiciary, the legislative, and what each branch do, and what are your responsibilities as a citizen, and what is the responsibility of the government. All of these unique structures to find out very intimate to our. And even when we are about to vote or members of parliament or president, we need to have even deeper understanding of their economic policies. We need to understand their foreign policies. We need to understand perhaps even their social policies, all of this tiny stuff. And funny thing, in our culture, we don't even have those conversations. And deep political stuff. Political, policies good. Well, economic policies. Well, this is the economic policy we are going to. When it comes to trade with South Africa, we are trying to reduce that trade imbalance, and we are going to do that by doing this and that and that. We don't have those conversations. I'm quite sure a lot of you are not even interested in that stuff. Modango the good stuff. Spaghetti roads. That is the basic stuff we just want to hear. But that is not how it should work. That is not how it should work. So that is the problem, manje. Democracy or this new system, it's a system, shunned when the majority of the people are very much educated. Unfortunately, Zimbabweans are not educated. You don't have to take my word for it. But for the last 40 years, 75% yevana vanonyora o level vanofoira 75% chifunga vave vasingaendi kuchikoro vasatombosvika na grade 7 over 8 pastatistics idzodzo zviri kureva kuti for the last 40 years majority emazimbabweans have failed to get basic education. They have failed. So how are those people going to understand the importance of the system we have? Say, how are we supposed to vote? All of those things. No, they are not going to understand it. And then there's another problem. This new system is completely opposite to the system we had before. For example, munakaba, it's quite normal kuti anorohwa nevanhu before mapurisa atombosvika. Anotanga amborohwa ngarohwe anorohwa munhu, and then mapurisa anozosvika ozomutora. But if you have a conversation nevanhu kuti akomana, do you know kuti kana munhu achiba tikamubata, it's not right kuti timurove munhu uyu. Anofanira kuenda mumapurisa, anofanira kuenda before the courts, otongwa, opuwa sentence yake. He is still human. Waona, afanira kumurova. That's not our right, that's not our responsibility. Waona. You think people can actually listen to that, but it's true. It's a crime. Even though Abba, it's a crime, but we don't have that in Zimbabwe. It's quite acceptable on the cultural level. Something chili wrong, guide with this, and a lot of those things are illegal stuff. So when I say ZANU-PF, it's not the problem. That is what I'm talking about. We have a culture, we don't understand what we have and how it works. And then I'm going to add more on top of it. Of course, ZANU-PF, they have no interest in making things better. They have no interest in trying to push our society to be much more aware of the system we have. Democracy, they have no interest to be more educated and more sharper. They have no interest, because if people are more smarter, if people really understand what is really happening, things will get bad for them real quick. So there's no way they are going to just push things that will disadvantage them. So in many cases, the system helps ZANU-PF. It really does. It helps ZANU-PF. And then on the back side, the photo of Watanga was there is the political apathy. People, they are not interested in politics. Remember that old system we had, we didn't care about politics, and this new system and then after effect ZANU-PF, the violence the and also the political violence, a lot of people are in many ways afraid and they don't like political stuff. And do even if my religions my church and tell out is only don't vote, but yet everything about your life is no or it's no content, it's only politics. But my leaders don't care about politics. But I don't know what you want to say. But it's a direct consequence of political landscape. Vana vako life, vana vako mukadzi wako, healthcare, marodhi aunofamba, all of these things, crime rate, it's not determined on a politics, but machiti's anokudzwa kuti don't care, azvina basa, satombovote. All of these things is not batira the ruling party, obviously. But the opposition party is also making things way much worse because they are contributing to voters' apathy. They are making us making us uninterested in politics because they have been a total failure. They don't have these conversations. They don't try to talk about it. As deep as I'm trying to right now. I'm not saying I'm the best. I'm not just saying we should disregard my opposition people at all. But I'm saying we do have a problem. They are not addressing these issues. The political landscape, it is so bad. So bad. So is our culture. Culture is so bad, so toxic. So there's a huge problem. ZANU-PF is not going to go away as long as we have this cultural problem here tonight. We need a cultural revolution of sort. We need to have conversations about what is a government. Why do we have the judiciary? Why do we have the executive? Why do we have the legislative? What does this thing mean? But what about us? What is our responsibilities? What are the responsibilities of a soldier, a police? And every single person in Zimbabwe has to understand that responsibility on that stuff. Because we move forward. Because as long as we don't take it, we're pretty much done. hapana. But of course, and I'll pin after me this other conversation here, because they have a different reality to yatina yesu vanhu vari kumatown, because those are the people I'm trying to address in this video. Imimi makakurira matown, or where makakurira nachiti matown, you know what I mean, unana Harare, you know, ana Bulawayo, ana Gweru, ana Mutare, those, you know, Marondera, those areas, ana Chivu, what you get my point. So yeah, there's a lot I want to say, but I can't say it all. The following video I'm going to share, or is going to be about the reason, I don't know, title and child labor, but it's a video about, so the next video I'm going to make is about very interested in keeping the status quo in Zimbabwe. Those people are the rich, ma Chinese, ma vanhu ZANU-PF, vanhu ANC, Frelimo vari kuMozambique, SWAPO vari kuNamibia, even some of the people vari muZambia, even vanhu vari kuTanzania. There's a lot of team iripo iri kuparticipate in our problems, and vanoda kuti maproblems wayo arambe aripo kuti varambe vachibenefit. So yeah, you should subscribe, because these are the conversations I like to have. Kana uchingofarira conversations akadai so ayaka subscribe, because I talk more about these things. All right, cheers.